There is a reason why you've been dreaming of pyramids, temples, sands, stars, and sacred geometry. On June 6th, I am inviting you into a free 1 hour Merkaba activation, a sacred energetic transmission to activate your ancient codings and prepare the path for a deeper remembrance of self and soul. As a collective, we will align with one of the most powerful points on the Earth grid, Egypt and the pyramids of Giza. This free activation is a gateway into activating your very own ancient Atlantean body technology and remember the light codes that you carry for the collective frequency elevation that humanity and Gaia are going through. If you are a spiritual leader, priestess, a grid worker, a medicine woman, it is time to activate your very own Merkaba field so we can all sync again with the inherent wisdom of the Sophia Christ consciousness. Reconnect to the sacred geometry of your divine essence. And maybe you discover that a sacred journey to Egypt in December is part of your next soul evolution. So don't miss to be part of this powerful collective. Sign up for the free Merkaba activation on June 6th by clicking the link in the show notes below. What's up, travel community? I am welcoming my beautiful starseed friend and guest, Allison Holley. Allison has been on the show already, and I am so glad to have you back. She's a channel and author of 2 incredible spiritual yet practical books and such a beacon of joy. Welcome, Allison.
Oh, thank you, Julia. Hi, everyone. Happy to be back again. I always enjoy conversations. You draw so much out of me. It's a remembrance, even before we started recording, I said something and you were like, hey, it's just who you are. And I was like, right, it's who I am. So I love these conversations. Thank you.
Of course. I have just returned from a sacred travel, and I just feel that more and more we are coming in this being the sacred mirrors for each others. And it's definitely also this reciprocity with you, where when we come together in the space, it's just like an amplification of the entire field for both of us. So I'm
So much
excited where we go
memory.
with this conversation.
Me too. As you're saying that, I'm like, oh, right. What did I sign up for in this podcast? Just, it is true. I love that reciprocity of how we activate this remembrance. So yeah, it's beautiful.
Yay. So I actually want to dive right in because you have a beautiful an adult summer camp, a spiritual adult summer camp to go back to kids' time in a way coming up in Arkansas. And I want to ask you, what made you choose this specific place for a summer camp?
Well, I feel like the places choose me, as you know how this goes. And so this is our 3rd annual spiritual adult summer camp. It's called the True Creator Summer Camp. And each year I was living in Arkansas, so it just kind of happened in Arkansas. But the whole reason I was drawn to Northwest Arkansas in the first place is there was a whole network of people there that I needed to meet who I'm still friends with and have since all moved everywhere else. And it is a powerful place for star family contact. And it's sort of a landing area that they've shown me. And the reason for that is multidimensional, but really it is the 3rd largest quartz mining location in the world, I want to say.
Wow.
And I think a lot of people don't know that. Yeah, it's like I found that out after I moved there. One of the first experiences that I had when I visited to decide if I wanted to move there was I went into, a visionary space and I saw 3 pyramids, and that opened up this whole connection to Sirius. And I saw that there were 3 pyramids there. And, when I shared this with my new friends, they said, oh, a lot of people see that there are 3 pyramids beneath the ground here and all of that stuff. So there's just a lot of yeah, multidimensional, historical all is now connection with so many things in that area. But for me, again, I feel like the area is just like, you coming back now?" You know? And so we planned the 3rd annual summer camp there this year. We'll be in Huntsville, Arkansas, and it's also just a really beautiful. I don't know if if any of your viewers have visited the Ozarks or maybe even live in Arkansas or that surrounding area. There's so much physical beauty. When you hopped on here and I saw your background, I said, "Wow, it's so gorgeous." And you reminded me that you put the backgrounds of the places that we're talking about. So it really is beautiful, that whole area. It's also playful. There's something inherently playful. When I lived in Arkansas, one of my favorite things to do was to go to the local rivers and streams and just like when I was a kid, play in the natural waters, go hiking in the forest. I mean, it's
Mm.
it's gorgeous. So those are a few multiple layers of reasons that we're gonna be gathering in Arkansas.
I mean, that in itself sounds like a super powerful gathering. And,
Yeah.
when I think it's very different for, let's say, Europeans and Americans, because as Europeans, like, we don't have that classical summer camp. I
Oh, yeah.
didn't even know what it was until I watched, what was that? American Pie,
Oh my
the
goodness.
movie where they so that's where I
It's
learned
gonna
about
be just like that, no.
summer camp. Yeah. And whereas probably for people from the US, to them it's like completely normal and they know what's happening. But I would want to encourage you to speak a little bit about, like, what are the elements of play, of joy, of that playfulness that are supported by the land that are happening on site.
Oh, I love that. Oh, there's so much I wanna say about that. So first of all, for people who don't know what summer camp is, kids in the US, a lot of kids here, you'll go to, school's out for the summer, and you'll go to some sort of summer camp. So for me, I was part of, like, a Christian religion, and so I went to that church's summer camp, and it was super fun. It's a chance to maybe some people have never connected with the land, or maybe it's normal for your family, but depending on how you do it, sometimes we'd have tents, sometimes we'd have cabins, and we'd go and for, several days, we would eat outside, we would prepare our meals over the fire. Some, like maybe if you did Girl Scouts or Boy Scouts, do you guys have something like that there?
Yes, yeah, we do. Especially in Switzerland, it's quite big.
Okay, okay. So you do, Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts, you'd go off and you'd practice wilderness preparedness. So, one of the things that I learned was multiple ways of building a fire. I learned
Mm,
first aid. There was a lot of really fun connection with the land and learning how to, just connect with the land and be with the land. And, we would make these amazing meals and it would all be made over the fire. So it was really fun memories. Plus, you're getting together with all your friends and, sleeping in a tent and telling, stories at night. So it was a lot of fun. So, from my memories of doing that, I created an adult spiritual summer camp. And I want to interject a lot of adults have a hard time getting together, especially for summer activities, but I would say for any activity, getting together without alcohol. And I think when we go through these spiritual awakenings and we're like, I mean, like I can barely drink coffee anymore, right? It's like some people are just like, really transitioning out of, you know, being able to even drink alcohol or anything like that. And we want
yeah.
something that's more deeply connected, more authentic, more fulfilling. We don't want to have everything centered around alcohol. We don't want everything centered around, drugs or whatever that is. So, True Creator Summer Camp is a sober event. where you get together with other adults and play. So we have so many different activities that are here to help adults learn how to have fun and be playful again. So we're going to be, doing hiking, nature excursions. There's a river there. Oh my goodness, I don't know the name of the river. There's a river really nearby where we are. So first of all, the facility itself that we're going to be in this year is it's called the Ozark Natural Science Center. And what they
Mm.
normally cater to is adults' weddings or science camp for kids.
Oh,
So
wow.
there's these big
So
cabins.
cool.
Yeah, totally, totally. So they have these big cabins with lots of bunk beds in separate rooms. So there'll be like 4 bunk beds to a room and these, big cabins with all of these different rooms in them. And a lot of times it's just little kids camping out. So we've got the energy of all these little
Mm.
discovering nature, having these different science excursions, and that's normally what this center holds. So,
Wow.
we've got the codes of kids playing, just there on the land. So we're gonna have, art tables, a lot of really fun activities like that, and we're gonna bring in the parts that are playful for adults. So people who have gone through awakenings, we're going to be diving specifically into channeling and star family contact. My guides have really come through actually pretty recently and said, "Hey, this is really what this is about. This is what you need to focus on for summer camp." So, we're going to have star family contact circles specifically with the processes that my guidance team has laid out for me with how to open to contact. And we're going to be doing that every night. We're also going to be having, costume dance parties. I mean, like I said, cacao ceremonies, yoga, there is a lot, manifestation workshops. There's a lot of really amazing activities, and it's very much centered around those 2, channeling and ET contact. So,
Wow, there's so much that I want that I want to go into, and before my inner eye, I can see like this tapestry of light weaving, and it's almost like it's a brain intelligence in itself, where there is like new, and I don't that like scientifically, it's not possible to create new synapses, but it's like like pathways that have lying dormant in a way that are being newly reconnecting or discovered. And the element of play, especially when it comes to, and I love that you predominantly like use the term star family contact, because I feel a lot of the, teachings or sources that are out there that are about ET contact, there is always that layer of
it's like
fear.
othering. Yeah,
It's othering, and there is a layer of like still putting that trajectory of like fear or unknowing and not quite safe. And so it's so profound that you are bringing this in the context of play. And I mean, if when you were explaining about this is what summer camp is, I could see myself like lying under the stars. And so you are looking at these beings
yes,
anyways. And
yeah.
so it's also that kind of like we're doing it, but then going a level deeper and kind of like normalizing the way of how we connect with the energies beyond the physical form in a way.
Absolutely, absolutely, and it's really interesting too because it's almost like so I've been given a process of how to open to contact and also how to teach it to other people, and I have not so a lot of people call it CE5, which I love. A lot of people call it ET contact, that's wonderful, and specifically calling it star family contact, it really reminds us like we are us, you are, it is family. This is family. and it's not so far off. It's not so foreign. It's not so far out there. The interesting thing is, I've never attended a CE5 circle. I've never experienced other people's ways of doing it. And actually, I had plans last weekend to attend one. And, you know, reality circumvented. It ended up being like a breakdown in a grocery store that my friend was having with 4 kids, and it just I couldn't attend, and I was like, "Man, that is divine intervention," because the way that I am really meant to teach it is it's like talking to a friend. Yeah, it's
Pure.
right here, and it's very much heart coherence. That's the
Mm.
process that I've been given. It's not this I hope we see the little green men coming out of a spaceship. It's, "Hey, friend, I remember you, you know, I remember you, and I feel you in my heart, and I connect with you in my heart, and I connect with
Mm.
you in my knowing, in my multidimensional knowing through channeling, and we're gonna see stuff in the sky. We're going to normalize it because this is my it makes me feel emotional. This is my divine purpose, my divine calling to help us remember that there isn't this big, vast layer of separation that, you know, in terms of like universal time, like 20 minutes we were born. And, so 21 minutes ago, we were one of them, right? It's not so far out there. It's just the density that we're in, we've sort of, like, created this feeling of separation, this lack of remembrance, and so we're just remembering. And the heart, remembering through the heart, the codes within there, our heart space is infinite, and so I wanna kinda share a story because, as you know, a few weeks ago, I had an ayahuasca ceremony for the purpose of receiving information for my next book and really connecting and communing with the earth, receiving her teachings because I am a starseed. And so for me, my awakening process has all been about how do I ground and feel safe on the planet and understand this place and feel familiar so that I can live my purpose here, right? So that ceremony was incredible. And after the ceremony, it was probably 4 or 5 days after the ceremony, when I went to sleep, I stayed in that liminal space of
Mhm.
almost dream time, and I had a channeling with ayahuasca. Whew, so good. I'm feeling it right now. Just like lit up my heart. And this channeling with ayahuasca, she was more deeply teaching me how to teach Star Family Contact at summer camp. And she was really pronouncing, if that's the right word, how intelligent the heart space is and how
Mm.
much bigger the energetic field is from the heart space and why that's the center that we create contact from. Also, it takes away a lot of the fear. But wow, the just how it felt to connect with ayahuasca in that space and go into that full conversation of, this is how you introduce it to people. This is how you teach it because it feels familiar in
Mm.
it feels familiar in the heart and it feels full of love and joy. And this is really, as so many teachings are guiding us into navigating from the heart space, and I do think that a lot of ET contact and CE5, it's very much taught from up here,
Mhm.
um,
Mm-mm.
which is beautiful, right? And my purpose is to bring it through the heart to really
Yeah.
share that guidance with it.
Can you share a practical approach or maybe even tactic how we can do that? How we
Yeah.
can drop into the heart space?
Man, I love that you asked this because when I first so my awakening happened in 2012, And the guidance, throughout has been go into the heart space, lead with the heart space, navigate through the heart space. It honestly felt like, what, how, what does that mean? Because we're so mentally focused. And it's beautiful and it's wonderful. And it really felt like that is such a big thing. Like it feels very amorphous. What does that really mean? Heart coherence is super, super simple. It's so simple. So, for a brief moment of heart coherence, place your hands on your heart. And all that does is it helps drop our focus. Where our hands are, we're guided to bring that focus. And then you're just we have this benefit of having our lungs in the heart center. And so when we connect to the breath, we're again dropping that awareness into the heart center. So we're observing the breath. We're just sort of witnessing it, noticing, and gently, lightly bringing your awareness to this center of your chest. And you can do that for 5 breaths. You can do that for 5 minutes. You can do that for the rest of your life. That's all heart coherence is. And there's a lot of science. I love the Heart Math Institute for teaching a lot of this. And they make it very accessible. You can look up videos, Heart Math Institute. They've done a lot of scientific study for years and years and years about how heart coherence creates body coherence, full body coherence. This is something that's come through in channeling for me as well. When we attune to the heart space and we allow that to be the frequency that guides all the other frequencies in the body, everything else comes into harmony. So if you're noticing that there's a misfiring or a patterning in the body that's full of stress or anything else, when you do this simple practice, the rest of your body goes, oh, there's my cadence, there's my rhythm. And it starts to follow that. The heart really is meant to lead the way, even on our physical system. And then multidimensionally, because it is the portal, it is the gateway to our infinite selves, to our higher self, our oversoul. That's how we access infinity in a human experience. And it's very simple. It's so simple,
Wow.
you know?
Thank you. It immediately, made me feel better and more expanded. And there was definitely that portal of light in a way that I could see through. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What's coming through now is a reminder and a deeper teaching on the technology that has built buildings in the past. Technology, right? The technology that has been multidimensional communication. Girl, every time I talk to you, I just go into like the deepest levels of knowing.
Bring it on.
The technology that we feel has been lost, we've channeled it through crystals in the past. It's from the heart. It's through the heart. The human body technology that can levitate, that can move objects outside of us, as we call it. It is from the heart. It is from the heart. That is the area of focus. If we are a prism of light and light is being projected through us all the time, which is how we exist as humans. We're being animated with light. That's how this happens. That light, when we can focus it as a prism would focus light into reality, when we can focus it through the heart, this is where all of that technology opens. And so all of our abilities that we feel we've lost, it's through the simple, simple act of heart coherence. And what that does is it just opens everything to us.
Mm. Mm. Wow.
So good.
I just feel that what you just shared as part of my integration, like coming back from France, like clicking in place a few fractals that hadn't fully dropped or that I had experienced while I was on that mountain with the heart cave. There's a heart cave, there's a yoni cave, and there is a third eye top in a way.
Wow.
And so it's exactly like that prism or the Merkaba with like the center cave in the heart. And I
Wow.
told you before this interview, like all the codes were so much about like this ancient body technology that gets unlocked when we open up the heart. And so
Oh,
you just put words to what I was experiencing. Thank you.
it's incredible, and it's funny because it's hidden in plain sight. It's, like, so simple.
Yes.
It's in us. We're walking around with this incredible technology hidden in plain sight, right within us, you know? I love that you said that too. You were just seeing pictures and seeing you now so illuminated from that, you know? And every, sacred travel experience that you create, I notice you're just like, "Whoa." Like, "That was amazing." And so yeah, that's so beautiful. And the integration process, and yeah, you've mentioned this, we talked about it. That integration, it's like some of that stuff is just so powerful, you know?
It
So
is powerful. And the other aspect that I feel like, especially when the two of us are coming together, that's why I'm so excited, like, to see where this will actually happen in person for the first
yeah,
time.
yes.
It's that aspect of play, because also I know that personally I forget about this a lot of times, because like my energy is like structured or wired in a very different way, plus a few conditionings, and so I forget about it. And it's so important to have that mirror and that reminder of, hello, you're here to play, you're here to
Uh,
have fun, like you can still be serious, but it's also meant to just be fun.
Absolutely. Oh, there's so much I wanna say about that, but just for this moment, and to share with your listeners, my last book was about play. It's called Ecstatic Playground.
Mhm.
Earth being the ecstatic playground, this human experience being, our avatar for this incredible experience. And, we're going to be diving into some of this with summer camp. But I want to share a little bit about play because I think a lot of people, they look at play and it's sort of like, well, I'm not just gonna kind of like let go of my whole life and go
Mm.
off in the forest and doing cartwheels. That doesn't feel authentic either. So play is everything. Play is this whole experience. We are playing all the time. Here's what we're doing. We're going to learn how to play consciously because that's when we get to use all of these tools and really move with them through life. And also, when we experience things that are so authentic to our divine blueprint, that are deeply spiritual in nature, how do we feel? We feel ecstatic. We feel happy. We feel
Mm.
like I want to share this. We feel we want to hug everybody, right? That's play. So reframing what play is. Play isn't, I'm going to go like get on my phone and just play games, right? Like that's actually disconnecting, disassociating. We're learning what play really is. And the next book that I'm bringing through is The Return to the Garden of Eden. Imagine being in the garden. Yeah, I know. I'm so excited to continue receiving those codes. It's big. It's so big. There's a part of me that's like, oh, wow. Okay. Like that's a lot to bite off. And that being said, imagine being in the garden. You're naked because you're not ashamed. So the
Mm.
filters of shame are so alleviated. There's abundance everywhere you look. So there's no feeling of need. We recognize our abundance. How are you going to live that way? How do you live that way? For some people they're like, "Oh no, let me like create problems so that I have something to do with them."
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So we need to learn how to play. We need to learn how to be free again because the Garden of Eden's within us.
Hmm.
It is us. We're the ones bringing it, you know? It's and it's everywhere that we look, but if we don't have the eyes to see it, it's not there.
It's not
So
there.
we attune to it. We attune to it through that inner child remembrance, right? How wise that inner child is, how fun, free, playful, sovereign that inner child is, like the purity of that. And that's the type of play that I'm talking about. And also cartwheels, right? And
And
also
also
making funny
cartwheels.
faces at each other,
I was
right?
never able to do that. So
Okay, when we get together, we're gonna do a cartwheel. I have another friend,
deal.
Courtney, and I told her this, and when we got together when I was on my book tour, she was like, "Remember, we were supposed to do cartwheels." I was like, "Okay, cartwheels."
Yeah.
So,
Oh, I
yeah,
think I
also
saw the video that you
yeah,
posted.
yeah,
Oh, that's fun.
because 'cause I'm always talking about I think I compare play to cartwheels a lot. Also, when I was young, I literally would cartwheel everywhere. I would skip or walk on my tiptoes or cartwheel everywhere. I was, I was a unique little one. So, yeah.
Okay, I just want to repeat what you said about the reframing and like how do I actually live is if there is no problems, like how do I live if there is only play and also if everything is possible, because I feel that just opens so much, and some people don't even allow themselves to come from that perspective.
It's hard. It's wild, Julia. When I published this book about play, first of all, when I got the signal, "Hey, you're writing a book about play," and I share this and, for your listeners, my audiobook for Ecstatic Playground is free on my YouTube channel, so you can listen to the whole
Yay!
yeah.
We're gonna link it.
Yeah, awesome. When I received the signal, like, "Your book is about play," I was like, "Woohoo!" Like, "Oh my god, I won the lottery," right? And I shared this in the intro to the book, what followed was a study on why it's so hard to play, what blocks us from
Mm.
all of that conditioning, it met me full on. And then I released the book, and it actually was uncomfortable for a lot of people. A lot of
Mm.
people, in subtle or overt ways, they'd say, "That's ridiculous." Like, "That's
Yeah.
not true," or whatever. Like, play it's threatening. Play feels threatening because we want to live our spiritual purpose. We want to do it right. That's conditioning. It's purely existing. Like, actually, literally just existing is our purpose. And then we're naturally going to take action from that. But it's this conditioning of perfect and right and need to take action, like the doing. All of that is conditioning. And it's sometimes really hard to decouple that conditioning from our true selves. And like I said, my whole journey in writing the book was not play, not conscious play, right? It was like drama play. It was like there was rough waters because I was really deeply immersing myself in like, why don't we play all the time? What makes it hard for us to do that? I lived it. I get it, you know? So it's coming from an understanding of why we don't, and also an understanding of why these are the codes that open us to our multidimensional selves.
And I feel it's a lot of times like we come or we go into this awakening expansion journey in terms of like I want to have these mind-blowing, heart-opening states all the time. But the actual work, like also coming back to the integration, this is what you're talking about. Like it really like all the shit in your life that is not aligned with this hits the fan and is like in
Yeah.
your face.
Yes.
And so that we have the possibility to look at it and transmute it. But for so many I guess this is also the hard part, because that's like when you are at the gate and like the threshold of like, okay, you want to get there, like this is how you get there, like right through it. This is where where a lot of people lose hope or lose trust, but that is actually the way.
It is the way. It's the way. Again, there's a lot that I want to share. Let me listen to I want to share this teaching that I received in my ayahuasca ceremony. So, there was it was actually 2 ceremonies, and so there was one ceremony where, ah, it was so beautiful, and it was like heaven was opening, and I saw a gateway in front of me, and I knew I was like, "Oh, wow," like, you've gotta be ready to go through that gateway, you've gotta be prepared. So internally, I was checking in. Are you ready to go through this gateway? This is a big deal. And Mother Ayahuasca was saying, on the other side of this is infinite knowledge. Do you want to see how it all began? And I was like, yes. Okay, let me make sure I'm ready. Let me make sure what was the readiness that I was trying to? It was just not being mental, just really being pure, like pure of heart, like humble with it. Not humble as in self-effacing, but humble as in really present right here. I'm ready. I'm ready to receive those teachings. That gateway, when I said I'm ready, she moved it down here. The gateway was coming into human experience. The gateway was moving through the womb into being a human. That teaching was so profound to me when she showed me being a human is the infinite wisdom, you know? Because right before that, that's right before that, I said, wow, I'm seeing the constellations, I'm seeing the stars and how it creates a map to something. I'm watching the stars show me a map. And then the gate opened, or the gate was shown to me, right? So what I realized, I thought I was looking up at the stars from this human experience. I was looking at the stars from my soul, right? My higher self experience, navigating to the human experience. I'm going to follow that. I'm going to go through the gateway of infinite intelligence and become a human. And the
Wow.
reason I want to share that is because we think that we're messing up when we're here, right? We go through these big processes and then the integration hits us in the face and we're like, "Oh my god." And we think we're messing up. And a lot of times what comes through in channeling and what I've really just started to share with people is you're having a hard time, you feel stuck, you feel, messy. Congratulations, very authentically, you're being a human. It takes so much effort to be disconnected from our higher selves, from our full selves, that congratulations, you're being a human. Like, it's hard for us to maintain this illusion of separation, but we're doing it because we're here for this experience.
Mhm.
So when we feel the messiest is often when it's a good reminder to say, hey, like just being human, just being able to feel messy and believe that there's something wrong with you is actually like, good job believing this illusion because this is like really, we're just pure, like, we're so perfect and beautiful, you
I'm
know?
gonna put I'm gonna put this on a sticky note and glue it to
Yeah.
my computer.
Congratulations. You're doing a good job humaning. Oh, you're suffering? Wow, that takes a lot of effort. From the soul perspective, it's really hard to be this separate. It takes deep concentration to keep those filters on. It's our natural state to be love and light. Yeah.
It's
It's
so
almost a
interesting.
reverse.
Yeah, thank you for saying that, because it also, like, again, it's like that complete opposite of the perspectives. And when we are, I mean, we are human, yes, and the journey is to be human, but we can get so caught up in this experience, and then like coming from that perspective and saying like, oh, what you're doing is actually like exhausting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, thank you. See, that's also why I love the
Coming
zooming out and like
Yeah,
having that star family, star seed perspective.
yeah, yeah. It's also why, when we are connecting with our guides and we're in deep suffering, and we're like, "Help me, help me." There's so much love and compassion because incarnating, it's a high level of mastery. It's like, "Wow, wow, we see you, we honor you for the experiences that you're having, for not knowing what the answers are,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
For forgetting who you are, like, that's incredible, you know? And it's part of it. It's part of it. So, it's powerful mastery that we're experiencing here purely by being human and being what we call messy. And then on top
Mm.
of that, we can remember ourselves and channel all of this light through ourselves. Like, awesome. But just incarnating here is really, really powerful.
Yeah, I mean, I guess not for nothing. It is still called a miracle, right?
Yeah,
Birth. So
absolutely. That's such a good point. It's wild
so
and
from that
primal. Earth is so wild to me. It's like I'm still like, this place is so interesting. I don't think
Well,
I'll
that's why
ever get
you
over
came
that.
here, right? But it's great that you say that because I was actually gonna ask, like from this star being perspective, because we talked about the heart coherence and making it a bit more accessible, like for humans, but like what is a message or something that you have seen and felt that the star beings, star nations are really trying to get across to humans?
Oh, it's the message, we are you and you are us, you know? It's the remembrance. When we come into familiarity with these frequencies and these beings, think of that word familiarity, family, right? And we recognize ourselves in them. A lot of times, I teach channeling, and a lot of times when people are going into these channeling spaces, it's helpful to remind people that it's not a hierarchy. There are absolutely masterful beings who can help us. I think of the earth, the level of mastery that the earth holds as a sacred being. Like, I literally kiss the ground, right? So there's deep humility there. I'm not saying that I know everything or that any of us do. There are masters, there are teachers for sure. That being said, our guides, they're not above us. We can move out of this paradigm of praying to them. This is a connection. This is a two-way communication street. This is, hey, they're holding this perspective, but we're holding this perspective too. We're sharing. And when we want to access that higher perspective, it's available to us. And when we want to access the multidimensional perspective of the earth, it's available to us, right? And it's also not a hierarchy. We don't need to say that we don't know anything. We have these really powerful filters on, right? And and it's sometimes it's hard for humans to really witness and come into like this level of understanding of how powerful we are, because the ego sort of takes that power and like convolutes it, that power means power over something, or that power means we're going to hurt people. It's none of that. True power actually comes from this heart space being open, where all we want to do is be of service. That's why when we really consciously ascend to different frequencies, our lives become a devotion, a devotion to serving our purpose, to being in that space of love, right? So I'm kind of going off on this tangent here, but you know, this is to bring it back to center. There's a familiarity being brought in through star family contact because it's helping us remember who we are.
Mm.
And when we remember who we are, we shine that light and we act that way here on earth as humans. With that deep remembrance, we're shifting, the human consciousness. So this is why star family contact, this is why disclosure and all of that, because it's not because, the ETs have infinite technology to teach us. That's an aspect of it. But it's because we are meant to remember who we are so that we can
Mm.
co-create. Imagine the funny example. This is a funny example that just came through. In school, something that's really common here, and I don't know if it's common, across the globe, but group projects, right? And there's all this you get into a group to do a group project. And, for some people, this is like nightmare city because inevitably you've got two people or maybe the whole group who's not interested in doing anything. And you're doing all the
Yeah.
work, right? Or you don't get along, right? Right now, they're kind of comparing that to star family contact. Like, imagine if ETs came to this planet and just, well, let me show you how to brush your teeth, right? No, we've got to be there. It's co creation, it's a group project. How are we going to help this planet ascend? We're connecting with our star family, but we're doing it too, right? So it's a group project. I think a funny analogy that just came through. You don't want to be
You
the
know,
done project, right?
well, we're all linking it to play. That's totally
Yeah,
fine. I
totally.
love how you also brought up the frequency because, still when we speak of being, sometimes I feel that it's there is still that this is me, there is this other being, but frequency is something that really permeates and exists within us or beyond the field. So this I love that you brought that up because it also gives another way of relating to that.
A lot of people, when I first started getting interviewed for things like Star Family Contact, people would say, "Well, have you had any experiences with ETs?" And I'd be like, it was such a weird question to
Well,
me
what
because
do you mean?
I'm like, "I am one." I'm like, "First of all, I am
Have
one,
you
and
had an
second of
experience
all, I'm
with yourself?
channeling them all the time." Like, so yeah. But you're talking about this very separate idea. It's like, no, no, no. Like, I think maybe you're an alien and you're you know what I mean? Like, yeah, we're talking right now. There really is this idea of separation. And so I can feel even through this conversation, so much of it is about familiarity, that
Mm.
word, family.
Mhm.
We got a lot of weird brothers and sisters hanging out there that are ready to in with us. And they're like, "Y'all are weird." Alright, so they're ready to create that connection and open it through our hearts, through our crown, through our ability to channel these insights. That's also why channeling is changing, you know?
Mhm.
The old model of channeling that a lot of people still do, and it's still very valid, is to bring yourself into a trance and a different being comes through, a higher being to teach, to share, a
Mm.
being that's way beyond human. That's not the way that it is anymore. Channeling, the way that I teach it, is tuning into the higher frequency of ourselves so that we can have conversations. And sometimes it's just our higher selves bringing through those codes. And then as we do it, we can remember on a conscious level, oh, right, I knew that. So channeling is changing as well because there's not so much othering. It's us. We're masters too. We're right here. We're right now. We're coming into the remembrance of who we are.
Every time that we have a conversation is and I'm repeating myself, but I'm coming back to the sacred mirror, and it's more like that multidimensional aspects of what you're receiving and what I am receiving, and then how it comes together. So all that you've been saying about the hierarchies that are dissolving, and that there is no more othering, but it's merely like the remembrance and the reflection of one another in the other, yet in the self. I've been experiencing over the past couple of weeks these hierarchies dissolving in a very, let's say, earthly spectrum, and in terms of like teacher student dynamics, or like real tangible human examples. But it's exactly the same frequency that I've been receiving and tapping into. And with my past experience in France, what I found extremely interesting was, you know how you go to a lot of sacred sites and you still have a feeling that they are cloaked, or
Yes.
like that there is something available, but it's veiled.
Yep.
And I am believing that overall also this is dissolving, but specifically like with the Magdalene codes and the starseed codes of the Magdalens that are available on that mountain where I was in France. It's like it's all there. And it's literally like all shown. Even the technology, like how it works, like this is it. And it's
Yeah.
still, it's still Christian churches, so it's not something that you would expect. And I've been to a lot of churches where still things are, they're there, but they're like hidden in plain sight, or kind of like still covered under something, whereas there it's just like, here it
That's
is,
right.
it's accessible, like it's available in you. And it
Wow.
was like, wow. And it's again, coming back to sometimes I feel as a human where we feel that we are not worthy of it. And the stepping into, just like the portal that you were shown, it takes a lot of courage also to walk through it, and to wanting to know what's on the other side.
Mhm. Mhm. There's something that I wanna say about that courage, so I'm just letting it come to me. Yeah, we could almost say that the courage is the familiarity. So the courage is coming into the remembrance again of, "This is me, actually, this is me." Like you said, it's living in you. Even when you go to these sacred sites and, where you just were, how it wasn't veiled, it feels like such a big responsibility
Mm.
to be that. It's like, "Oh," like, "I can read this. Am I ready?" Like, it's right here, you know? And so it is those baby steps of allowing ourselves to be that, and to really feel the difference. Like, it's not that ego that we're afraid of that keeps us from it, where people think, if I know all of this, like, this is gonna change my whole life, and I've gotta be this guru on the mountain, and it's gotta look a certain way. It's actually kinda like, well, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. You're still gonna wake up and put your pants on, you know? And and carry all these codes. It's like, it's kind of a wild, our mind has a hard time with this, but anyway, that was a bit of a tangent, but I love what you shared. Yeah. Yeah.
It's all weaving together.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know it's fairly big, and you and I have been talking about this like offline a lot. And I also feel or know that you said that there's still a lot to involve. But how do you feel about these codes of the Garden of Eden? Like we are in the year of the snake. So I also like with this feel there is an important threshold being crossed this year, where more of these codes that are seeding, or again, it's more of like a remembrance of that template of the blueprint that already exists, how we can move into it.
Yeah, that is a big question.
So
It's
just
shedding.
for now, what is there anything that wants to come forward?
It's the shedding. So this is being the year of the snake, the shedding. We've probably all heard, and I'll repeat it, that awakening is not a process of becoming something new. It's actually of letting go of the programs that keep you from being you. And this is the year of shedding. We're shedding the conditioning, we're shedding the programs in the core, and actually, even things that are shedding. There's perfection. It's all you. Like, that's already there. So it's almost like be prepared for how normal it is, how normal it feels. We want these big flashes of light, and they do feel that way because it feels like ecstasy moving through the body when we come into that soul remembrance of who we are, when we recognize codes, and then it's just like that key unlocks through our whole system. That's ecstatic. And there's something that's like, oh, this actually feels normal. This feels like me, right? There's much less of a push. This is what I'm noticing. There's less of a push for anything. When we're mentally driven, we're pushing, we're grasping, we're holding, we're attaching, we're like, oh, I don't know if I can get there. I hope I do all the right things. I got to do like 17 Hail Marys, whatever that program is that says, you're something with you is wrong. And now we're going to somehow form you into what's right so that you can get it. It's actually going to be let go of those programs, attune to the truest frequency of who you are, and it's going to start being normal. We're going to kind of be shocked at what's normal, you know, in a good way, in
In
a
a
good
good
way,
way?
in a really fun way. We're going to be shocked at what's normal for us.
Mm.
I really think that we're all going to come into this levitation and we're just going to be like, oh, yeah, because this is who we are.
Oh, yeah.
Step into it and go, yeah. Telekinesis is starting to open to me in that way. It's just like
Oh, yeah.
when it happens, it's like, oh, that makes sense. That makes
Mhm,
sense. Not
mhm,
from a way that my mind ever understood. It's not a system of things that my mind can say, okay, if I move my fingers in this way, it's going to work. It's my my energy is flowing in a way that's like, "Oh, this is familiar. This is familiar. Oh, I can see how this is moving things." You know? That and then it's kind of just like the beginning of my awakening. Man, it was psychedelic. It was my whole old life fell away. It was wild. When I describe my awakening, people ask me, "Were you scared?" No, because it felt normal. It felt
mm.
it was a confirmation of what I'd felt glimpses of before. So this is what we're really coming into. Also, what's coming through is there's a lot of teachings about the true nature of abundance and really stepping into that, claiming our sovereignty, claiming our light, claiming our right to be here helps us channel these high levels of abundance because we are beings of abundance. Like, it's crazy the codes that live in us, the miracles that walk through us, like that are us. It's pretty wild. So it's almost just remembrance and becoming familiar with the truth of what's already within. Yeah.
Just.
Just that. The universe is, like, so amazing and magical and you can do anything. Oh my god. Right. Right. It's that
Ah,
ecstasy. And it's fun, and it's doing things, but it's not the push, and it's not the pull, it's
yeah,
not it's just
yeah,
allow uncover me. I'm
yeah,
like here.
yeah,
I claim
yeah. So I'm excited for
it.
this new book forming and the
Yes.
codes that are coming through.
Me too. Me too. I'm excited to receive it. Yeah.
Okay, is there any final wisdom pearl that wants to be shared?
about summer camp, I will share a discount code with you for anyone who wants to come.
Oh, yay!
So
Thank
I'll send that right
you.
after. And a discount for summer camp if you want to join us. It's in Arkansas, June 27th through 30th. And if you're watching this after the fact, there's going to be another one next year. So join
I
us.
am surely planning to join you for this one. I can't miss
Yes.
another one. So
Yes.
let's make it
Yes.
happen.
Oh, I would love that. I would love that. Oh, thank you. Mm.
Thank you, Allison. It's always such a pleasure. Yeah, just to share the space together, and I will definitely need some grounding right now. So
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna go play on the beach. I'm like, woo! Probably need to eat something. Thank you, Julia. Thank you for everything that you bring and all that you are. This is really like so much fun always.
Mm. Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
And thank you, everybody, for tuning in and listening. As always, stay curious and continue to escape the ordinary. I'll see you next time.